You want to know that, right? So we don't have to spoon feed things. I thought I was going to come in and, you know, do the basic African civilization lecture. But the point is, we got Hemmitt for that. We got Dr. Charles Mitchell with the Morehouse Medical School for that. We have our Super CNT Touré is right here in Atlanta. We have several people. We got the Hemmitt organization. We have several people that can do that. What we want to do is, this is the business school, right? So you want to know, since you're putting it on, I'm not saying everybody is using the beat, but you want to know what's going to affect the economy that you're getting out to go into, right? So we're going to put it plain and simple. You see what I'm saying? That way, some of you all got great ideas in your head, and you might consider entrepreneurship. You know they used to have the great, I know before I got out of college, we used to have the career fair week, right? Remember the career fair? And when you go there, most students have brilliant ideas in their head. They come in fired up, they got these brilliant ideas. I came in because I was a commercial art major. I came in with these good brilliant ideas. Went to Bloomingdale. I went to Bloomingdale and I went to Barnes. Because those were the only people that was associated with art because we talking about commercial art. And first of all, they said, look, number one, the ideas in your head, that's beautiful, but we don't want you to think. We don't even want you to look like you're thinking. Whatever that is, we're going to put it in your head and work for you to be what we want you to do, to be. Now, that's fine if you are geared up for the job. But we know that millions of our people are being laid off by the underclass. You see, in the 80s, they took what you call the lower class, but we say we all lower class, 2 paychecks away from poverty. We all lower class when it comes to it. But in the 80s, they took what you would call your lower class, and you talk about dealing with your inner city and your projects, and they shut them out with the Reaganomics. But I remember this because I was in school during the whole 80s. But I remember it was a time when we really didn't see what was going on. We saw what was going on, but it really didn't affect us because we were in school. Now what's happening is this. Now they're ready for the middle class. You see what I'm saying? Believe it or not, most of the people that you know, a lot of people are unemployed, especially the entry-level jobs. The first thing that happens is this. Get on the job, and I will admit, when we were sitting in the auditorium at Clark, they said, raise your hand and see how many brothers and sisters have jobs. And 98% raised their hand. The other people were going into ROTC. So that was pretty good, and the rest of them were going into grad school. So you'd say that was real good to say that you, in the enrollment of the, what you would call a placement office, they would place that many people in jobs. And I said, oh, that's great, because I went to another black college in South Carolina when they said, how many of you people got jobs at graduation? And nobody raised their hand but the ROTC. And the only other people that would have anything to say was the people who were going on to grad school. But the point is, if you notice, all of you got friends that went to the entry-level jobs, they worked for like a year or so, and next thing you know, they said, man, I'm back home, man, that piece just, hey, they got me out of here, and they come back to grad school about it. We got several people and several partners in that case. I decided, on the other hand, give you a good bit of background about myself to let you know that I ain't no Rudy Poo. Let me tell you what's going on. I decided, when I got out of school, I went to New York City to design shoes. Because I was an art major, and I was working for a guy by the name of Roger Bowman. Now, I stayed up there for about a year, but the rent was real high. You know, I'm up in New York City. You gotta live in the park. You gotta pay the road. I'm up there. I got about $1,200 rent in New York City. Now, what happened was, even though I made so money, I wanted to start my own business. So I decided to come back to Atlanta and start my own business as far as entrepreneurship. So, make a long story short, I met up with a brother that's got his own company, and the rest is there. I work for him. I'm even getting backed by him, believe it or not. You see me over them hamburgers, I'm even getting backed by him, so it ain't no stupid stuff. But the point is this. During that time, I see too much of my brothers and sisters are going to the point where the jobs are not as plentiful. Believe it or not, in 2 years, they are going to phase out the black middle class even more. If you think I'm jiving, first of all, let me explain something. I want anybody that's got a $10 bill on up from that have $19.90 on up in your pocket, take it out and look at the corner. $10, $20, $100 on up. You look at the corner. I'm getting a bit of a new order before I get into some real signs of what's going to really happen. How many people have this money? Look at the money. If you notice in the bill, you will see on one side a metal strip. If you take it and you hold it up to the light, it's got to have 1990 on it. 1988 is too early because they print the plate in segments. They'll do it. If it was a 10, it's in 10 for 1990. You can get it as a metal strip. In the left-hand corner, if you have a 1990 bill, in the left-hand corner, there's a metal strip. And it has like USA 10, USA 10, USA 10, or USA 20, USA 20. What they tell you is this: when you go to the airport, this thing will beep. So they say, well, this is to catch the drug dealer when they go to the airport carrying all this big money. Well, they tell you this, and the first thing you do is you buy. Right? First thing you do is you buy. What's happening is this: you have all over the barcode that's on all your products. Well, that same barcode that they put on your products, you see it on all of the books, the barcode. If you can find some books that have the barcode, you know the barcode. And on all of your groceries, they set this up so in the future, I'm going to give you a bit of time frame when it's going to happen. In the future, you are not going to be able to use that money. That money is going to be null and void. That paper is not worth anything. President Nixon took it off the gold exchange in 1975. The Federal Reserve Bank printed that out of midair, and it's not backed by anything. As a matter of fact, they already have the New World Order that they're talking about. If this one world government, they already have it in place. It's been in place for the last 2 years, but they understand that the American people are so stupid to actually believe in the government so they can keep it running and also run the New World Order at the same time. About 8 months to a year, no more than 2 years, they are going to come and they're going to give you what they call the debit card system. They've already done it. Number one, you remember in 1991, they got the people on welfare and they say, now we got this credit card and this debit card and you can go and get your food stamps. That's the test drive. All right, you know what Bill Clinton is talking about. He has a national health plan and he's going to give you a health card. That same health card is no more than the same debit card that they can convert into the money system. What is national health? Health means if you don't have no money, it's not healthy anyway. So it's not just a medical health we're talking about. The national health plan is saying it is healthy to be on this debit card system. Now what's going to happen is they're going to phase this money out. And if you're caught with that money, it will feed you. And you'll go to jail because a lot of people, when they take this money, they're going to hoard this money and try to go and get money up from overseas. But what's happening is they can fly over your house, go by your house in a van, or anything. If you have that money in your house, they can register how much you have on you. By this time, most of the people don't understand. They would have burnt up because they incinerate so many of the dollar bills every 2 or 3 years. They would have burnt up all of the dollar bills from 1988. So if you're caught with that money, you go into jail. Now, another few things. If you notice around 1976, 1986, 85, you had a lot of drought out in the Midwest. A lot of farmers were forced out of work and the government started buying up farms. They buy up these farms because they have these big subsidy houses that they're going to give you the food that you need. In about 2 years, you're going to have a major food shortage. Why? Because the farmers are forced out of business. So many farms go out of business every month, every day. Also, to let you know the things that I'm talking about, you can understand these right before your eyes. Do you know one semester you here and you got First Atlanta, CNS, and all of that. By the time you come back, you got Bankside, Wachovia. The other banks are merged all together. What's happening is you have a bank system that you only have 3 banks left in America. Chase Manhattan, What's another one? Citibank is a big one. Chemical. And Chemical Bank. You got it. Those are the only three banks. The other banks that you have are subsidiaries of Chase Manhattan Chemical Citibank. That's all it's left. Do you know in the Colorado banking system, the entire banking system, now we're talking about the state of Colorado, so we're talking about a couple of thousand banks, went under one Friday and opened up new banks the next Monday, that Monday, 2 days. You notice the same thing with the First Atlanta and Wachovia. You left to go home for Christmas last year, fall 91, by fall 92 they had already had in Wachovia. The point is that these banks have merged and it's only 3 banks and they have agreed with the money system to go into the debit card system. Now, you have the Japanese that you think is running America out of business. No, that's not the way it is. If I go to your house and say, hey, Roger Cohen, I'm from South Carolina, you from Atlanta, let me buy this chair in your house and I give you $40,000 for the chair. And I leave and go back to South Carolina and leave the chair in your house. Whose chair is that? That's your chair. You understand how that goes? They're not buying up anything. The Japanese are in on the money system as well as everybody else. The Japanese say, look, we got so many million war babies that will come over to the United States and will work for you for a lot less money and a lot less attitude. Who's the ridiculous? They're saying, look, your problem is you got to get rid of the Negro. On the other hand, during the 1980s in Mexico, they built all of these industries. Most of your suits, Giorgio Armani, Gianni Versace, all these suits that used to be made in Milan, Italy, are now, and all of the American suits, now they have Mexican factories. That these Mexicans are making this stuff for cheap. Way cheap. Even in Korea, a suit like this would cost you, now a man's suit would cost you anywhere for a good one. It's going to cost you anywhere from 5 and maybe 2 on sale. But we're talking about the retail price of what they come into the store. Those suits cost $14 to sew up in the factory. So now in foreign labor, but they can't do that with this type of labor. Number one, so we have them saying you've got to get rid of the Negro. Now, if anybody didn't know anybody who had a baby, or it might be some sisters that had had a baby recently, first thing they started doing is, when you go to the hospital, you have these babies. They tell you, number one, do you want to test for sickle cell anemia? And you go, oh yeah, okay, cool, that's good, because you're thinking it's a disease. Sickle cell anemia is actually, if you notice, if most people go to Africa, they will catch malaria and die. But the Africans walk around like there's nothing going on. Well, what happened was, the World Health Organization dumped, through the smallpox vaccine, dumped the AIDS in Africa and inoculated, let's see, I think 65 million Africans. What? No, 65 million Africans. But they got 80,000 Africans in one corner that's walking around with AIDS virus and ain't doing nothing to them. The reason why it's not killing them is because they have sickle cell. It's the same thing that keeps you alive from the malaria in Africa. And they have sickle cell and it's not doing anything. So now America is saying, now we got to kill the sickle cell over here so the AIDS can really kill you. Now if anybody knows the history of AIDS, we automatically know that the government has a history on germ warfare. We got General Amherst with the Indians doing the Great Western what they call the Great Western Conquest, where General Amherst gave smallpox infested in the blankets to the Indians and wiped out millions. We also have the Tuskegee experiment where they gave the black men, how many was it, about 200? About 200 black men, they shot them up with syphilis in the 1950s and made sure that they could not get the actual polio vaccine and tracked them for almost 25 years and made sure that they could not get it, and they made love to millions of black women, if you want to put it that way, because we know how rampant we were sexually in our community and still the same way. Now, in 1978, in New York and in San Francisco, in 1978, under the hepatitis B plan from the same situation under the same program. You can get, we can document this. You can get Robert Strecker memorandum to let you know we're not bullshitting. You can get questions. You can get Robert Strecker memorandum. You can get Dr. Allen Cantrell, AIDS and the Doctors of Death. You can get the black biochemist from South Carolina. His name is Jack Felder. You can get his books on AIDS, biological warfare. Also, you can get a book by, I think the guy's name is, well, I know Delbert Blair is another brother that does different things with AIDS and drugs. So the information is out there. We also can get the ISIS papers with Francis Scott Wells to tell you. This stuff was cooked up in Fort Detrick, Maryland. Now, in 1978, with the hepatitis B vaccine on the East Coast and the West Coast, we had from San Francisco all the way to New York. They shot up so many homosexuals with the hepatitis B vaccine. Now, why homosexuals? Well, let's look. If this was a genocidal project, number one, black people, even though we have sex, we still are not as freaky as most people are, and we don't do certain amount of things. We just got in a certain amount of things recently. Now, if you notice, and especially the black woman is one of the most conservative people on the planet, and ain't but so much she's going to do. But everybody else is gay. So, if we would have came down with the disease overnight, the first thing we would have said was, hey, something strange here, man. We understand the Tuskegee experiment, and we understand coming out of the 60s, all of the stuff that was portrayed and put on black people. We would have gone, well, something is wrong here. But you must create a smoke screen if you want to get the big prize. Now, the smoke screen was the homosexual community, because the first thing, now remember now, I want you to flash back. The first thing we said was, that's a fatty disease, and God is getting back on the homosexuals. You understand? Now, be honest for doing that. But we know that homosexuality goes back to Greece, 2000 BC. And it's been here, not Africa, because we was a 98% heterosexual community, because we had rites of passages, and we understood there was no such thing as just a masculine and feminine principle. It was only one principle, and that's the feminine principle, and you have a masculine half of the feminine principle coming from the great schools of Kemet. Man was not man unless man was half woman. Woman was not woman unless woman was half man. That's called the duality in the truth to who these principles. And we taught our people this. So therefore, you didn't have to be homosexual. Homosexual comes from a patriarchal and a masculine and a sexist type of climate where the male, not being able to cry, not being able to show emotion, because that's not considered macho, he has to shut down his feminine side. So the psyche, what happens to the psyche, it overcompensates, and sometimes it goes total homosexual. Same thing vice versa to women, because she's not able to show a masculine side without being called something else. And by the male ego in this country being so vulnerable, until if this woman has any type of opinion, he's looked on it as some type of attack on his manhood. You understand how this stuff goes? So based on the climate of what type of society we live in, this is where the homosexuality comes from. You can get a book that's just put out by Yale, and it's called Homosexuality in the Ancient World. Let's put this gun on. It's not over there. Homosexuality in the Ancient World. And they say, page 1, Greece. So based on that, they know that we wouldn't go for it. But they put it in the homosexual community because we understand that they have such an irregular lifestyle until you bought it. And the next thing you know, it jumped from homosexuality, who went and got in their community and fought this disease until the point that it came from them being one of the least people that have it, and the number one carriers of AIDS is black people. You see, now remember, each time you have an AIDS case that's reported in 1 year, you got to count that and let's say, well, multiply that 9 by the next year. Now, in 1989-1990 season, right here in the AU Center, we had 40 cases per school. Now, that's 40 cases, close to 40 cases, and I think it was maybe over 200 cases. But see, you got to understand one thing about college. It's a check-in, check-out system. It's not like high school. If somebody's not going to school in high school, you know that's against the law. You go, and plus, he stays in that town, you go, hey, something's funny. But it's in a check-in, check-out system. You just say, well, hey, well, even if you didn't have money to come back, or they transferred under the two. You understand? So you can't detect it. But what had happened was you had over 200 cases in 1990. The end of 89, 96. Now here, this is 1993. And it jumps 9. Now this is by the CDC. In a retreat, an AIDS retreat done by the outreach program, the same brothers that pass out these rubbers. Summer retreat that they had the same year, well, summer 91, you have to you have to multiply that by 9 each year. Also, each person that you have, most that you know that has AIDS, multiply that by 9. Now, so we have this whole AIDS thing going on, and now we understand that it jumped from the homosexual to the number one carrier of the AIDS is the black woman, not because she's so promiscuous, but because she has an open system. You understand? So now we got another problem. Okay, moving right along. The AIDS, the first, if you can, I think this book is called The Great AIDS Hoax. The first AIDS person was a woman, and I can't think of her name, and that's stupid because I didn't get the book. I didn't bring the book for some reason. It was a woman, and her name was, her first name was A. Her second name was D in the middle, the middle name, and the last name was S. And they want your I in there or whatever, but they let you know that the first person that died in the 1950s from this. And her name, they named the disease from her name. You can get this from a book called The Great AIDS Hoax. You can go down and get this book at the Black Media Communications on Cascade, right down the street from the Beautiful. I think it's right beside the Beautiful restaurant. You can get that book in there. Okay. So now, going back to the New World Order and what's getting ready to happen. Well, number one, with this card, they also have what they call the mark of the beast. Now, this mark of the beast, at first they wanted to take this mark of the beast and they wanted to put it on your hand, a barcode. But they said, well, when people grow up, the skin changed and it might not register on a computer. Also, you know, there's never been anything that the white man made that was ever stood up to anything. It always breaks down. But they said, well, we got a new thing, and I've seen this. They have this new thing, it's about as big as a grain of rice. And they can put it in your skin with a hypodermis needle. And it can track you, and it knows all of your life history because they have a computer and they can program as they go along. Now, so what's happening? Number one, why is this going on? And number one, why is the white man and why does all of the nations say that you got to get rid of the Negro? Well, number one, they understood that looking from the Tahuti's prophecy. Now, Tahuti's prophecy is the prophecy of the great god Tahuti, which is the god of wisdom coming out of ancient Egypt or ancient kingdom. And in that prophecy it says, you have the great first doctor or the first physician in history, the father of medicine is called Hemmitt. He's known in Greece called Asclepius. So when you take the Hippocratic oath, they tell you he's the first father of medicine, but you also take an oath to Asclepius, that is Hemmitt. Well, in Hemmitt there's prophecy that our brothers and sisters were so advanced that they could prophesy in the future, and you can do this right now if you get into your higher and lower levels. Well, in the prophecy says there's going to come a time when the divinity will leave Kemet or Africa, and Kemet will fall prey to grave robbers and all type of barbarians. We know who the barbarian is. It says, if I want to drop on this barbarian, let you know who you're dealing with, and we can go into some question and answer after we deal with what's getting ready to happen to the middle class. It says that there will come a time when the weak man will be considered strong, and the strong man will be considered weak. It says the pious man will be treated like a common criminal. This is a 3,000 year old prophecy. And it says the impious man will be treated like he's wise. And Imhotep started crying. He said, well, look. He said, well, will Egypt rise again? Will Africa rise again? Or will Mayat be established again? Mayat is the law, the order, the ancient Egyptian, ancient African law. Balance, harmony, righteousness, order, reciprocity. He said, will it be established again? He said, yes, it will. He said, but when? He said, it will be an extremity of Kemet that will rise up in the west. He said, well, who are these people? He said, these people now live here in Africa. But at this time, they would have gone through the Atlantic Ocean, gone through slavery, and they would have rised up from their oppressors in America. Same thing in the biblical prophecy if you're a Christian. The whole thing when you will be afflicted for 400 years in bondage. And that Egypt is not the literal Kemet. It is actually a prophesied, because we know they didn't have no slaves in no Egypt. There's no pyramids. Those pyramids now are undateable. But even if they dated it with the time that they say they were built, the last one was built before Abraham was even born. And we know he was the father of the Hebrews. You understand? We understand that the Bible and the scriptures, whether you're dealing with the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of the Dead, the Torah, we understand that is a prophesied history. And a lot of these things are occurring today. Now, you don't have to believe me. You understand? But you better believe in something. Because even if I'm speaking some spooked out stuff that's not about a part of your church, don't be no hypocrite. Your church told you all your years that you better believe in something. Because if you don't believe in nothing, you're going to fall for everything. And the way the piece is rolling now, you did it. It's straight as that. But why? Why do they want to do this? Well, number one, we understand that all this the society and the government is run by the secret society. And we understand that the prophecy, the Tahudi's prophecy, as well as the biblical prophecy, and as well as the prophecy of the Kali Yuga coming out of India, which is not the blue-black people that came from the Indus Valley and traveled up to India. The Kali Yuga says it's going to come a time when man will eat the sacred cow as hamburgers, and the man will beat the woman. This time is upon us. It's been upon us. But these people, you have the York Flags, the Scottish Flags, the Rosicrucians, the OTO, the AA, the Theosophical Society, the Hermetic Brotherhood of Russia, all of these people being a part of the Illuminati. These people know this stuff. And even J. Edgar Hoover, with being a Mason, said that we must neutralize and organize to stop the rise of a black Messiah. You understand? And in that year, and in 65, Malcolm was killed, and in 68, Martin was killed. So the prophecy is upon us. Well, let's go a little further. In in the early 1970s, President Nixon said I was going to drop on a whole other lecture, but the spirit didn't hit me, and I got to tell you the truth. We can get into all the other stuff, but time is upon us now, because really, let me be frank with you. What happened to me was this. In 1990, I was on my way to do my thing with the whole shoe bit, and then something came over me. And I literally died. All I wanted to do at that time was to study this history. I put all my money in thousands of books to sacrifice for people, even if the people didn't want to sacrifice. I knew, look, hey, our people are dying out here. And I knew if I must give 10% of myself, not giving 10% of your earnings in church, because remember when the scriptures was out, there was no such thing as this doggone money. You understand what I'm saying? 10% means I must give 10% of myself to a people that's dying and starving. You understand? And a people that's on their way out. And our brothers, it had to be somebody that sacrificed. We got people that sacrifice. I'm just so happy to be one of those people. And now I'm benefiting from it because I've had several lectures. I started lecturing last summer, and since then I have gone everywhere and had several lectures all over the place. I just got back from Tennessee. I'm from Lemoyne College. I'll be at Memphis State in another week or so. I'm going to be at the Slave Theater in Harlem in about another month, and things are moving. I'm going to be back on the radio, WRFG, coming this Friday night at 11:15 or about 11 o'clock. But getting back into this, in the early 1970s, President Nixon, as well as the governments and the secret societies, drew up a blueprint called the King Alfred Plan. Now, the King Alfred Plan says, in case of a revolt, we must detain the black people, all of them. In case there's a revolt, we must detain black people, because there's going to be some things that's cooking in South Africa. And we don't have to go to war with South Africa. Our brothers in South Africa, they're talking about the white brothers. And we can't fight a war on the inside when we fight a war on the outside. You see, the American history and the government, they have been used to fighting wars on the outside. They don't know what to do. When the black man is two so-called fists stay right next to your honey, he can jump in the house and snitch your honey fork and you fighting over here. So they said we must detain these people, so they drew up the King Alfred Plan. Now the King Alfred Plan said we must take all secret societies, the Black Masons, the fraternities and sororities, all of your NAACP, Urban League, SNCC, all of your black churches, and we must put them in concentration camps. So they started refurbishing the concentration camps around 1979. President Carter started refurbishing these concentration camps that they put the Japanese in World War II. What happened was, if you notice, moving right along to today, in 1989, a couple of months right after President Bush got into office, he closed down 5 army bases. Anybody remember that? You don't remember, he closed down 5 army bases. Now, if anybody's ever been on an army base, it is bigger than some small towns, 4 of them put together. That means you can detain millions upon millions. But they got 5 of these. They closed these things down in 1889. And President Carter came on TV and told you, we now have space to detain drug dealers. They always do this stuff with the drug dealers, because we understand they brought it in the country and they set it up. They set it up for a greater purpose, to make you down, pull you down to the degradation, and let everybody who's so-called thinking they're making it, saying them people that don't need to be doing this, to pull you down and create a hostile situation that they created and say, we now have space to detain drug dealers. Now, what's happening is this. They're getting ready to take the money from the middle class. They're forcing them out by the media. They understand a lot of people that's in the projects, even though they do things, they don't really have a voice, because it's like a brick wall. You know nothing from nothing leaves nothing. If you're constantly bombarded by negative things, you don't understand things. So you think it's something wrong with you for being in the situation you are in. But they understand if the black middle class that so-called had a beneficial part in the society, a small part, just buying clothes and cars, just look at the real deal. We don't own nothing. And don't own nothing. And you can't speak the truth, because you know you got to go to the man Monday morning. And he might have heard about it, and you out of a job. So are we really free or what? So they understand that even you, they understand that you do have a voice. Because every time something goes up, you stand up and start talking to nothing else. If you don't do nothing, you just run your mouth. So they say, look, the object is to take the middle class and force him out, so when he'll stand up and say, I'm not taking it. See, you can't force me out and take all the jobs, and now I'm out here. I don't have nothing for you. I done spent all this time. Some of them butt dance for the crap all this time. Then look down on the other people. You understand what I'm saying? And put off their own liberation when they know that they should have stood up in the crack of face for that money. And now they don't have the money. You see? So they know that you're not going to stand for it. But this will also give them the justification to enact the King Alfred Plan. Now, if you believe in spirituality, we have, some people say, I don't believe in psychics. But then again, you just have to rehouse that into the people into the type of society that the people live in and the people we came from. You say, I don't believe in psychics, but everybody say, I know a person was born with a veil over their eyes. Okay, I understand what that means. What is the same thing as a psychic? Some of you. I met a beautiful sister that's 100% accurate. She came to me, she said, look, the Spirit told me you need to go help your people. But she doesn't know anything about the African history, so I said, I'm going to teach you about the African history, so you'll be on track and you can understand what's going on with the beast. Well, she said, I said, well, I'll tell you what. That's good you don't know. That way you won't be biased when I ask you questions. I said, when is the money going? She said, 8 months to a year. And called a brother named Dale Jones that's in Philadelphia, and he's got a great book out called the Black Holocaust, and also a couple of videos. He's going to be at Georgia State in the next couple of weeks. He said, yeah, that's the same thing that our people have been registering. That's the same thing that our people say the same thing as around 95. I said, well, okay. Number one, when will the King African plan be enacted? She said around 1995. I see this. She said, now what is it? And when she would tell me, I would tell her what it is, and she'd break down. I said, oh, that's what. See, that's the good thing about her about her not knowing this stuff. She didn't know what it was. I'd say it, and she would, and the Spirit would give her 1995. Now, if you don't believe, you don't have to see the whole good thing about this, because I'm not asking none of you all to believe anything. You understand? The Bible even tells you to study to know thyself approved. So you don't listen to anything I say. It's up to you to take up the challenge to go out and research it yourself. You are adults, and you are grown, and also you're supposed to be the learner of us. We are all supposed to be the learner of us. That means that some of us don't pick up books right after we get out of school. I have read more, and I have spent more money in books than all 8 years of college. Because I used to just stay in college because I knew there was nothing out there. Just have fun, go to class. I said, well, I said, hey, I'm out of school. I don't went to one school, and I said, hey, I'm going to get down to Atlanta, Georgia. I ain't got no job. I don't have no place to stay because I don't know nobody. Go to school. Okay, I got a job in the room. I got 12 years a day. Boom. You see? I used to run that. I said, well, look, ain't nobody, all the other black men ain't going to school. All this money allowed, I'm going to go to school. You understand how it goes? But the point is, you don't believe nothing I say. That's the good part about it. I'm not a brother up there just shooting all this rhetoric and giving you some stuff and you going, I don't know, that might be some more spooked out stuff. And I don't believe this stuff. Okay. Now, going into some other places. In 1979, and then this is great because this is right on time with what's going on now, and all of you know this right now. In 1979, President Carter, who you thought was the greatest president we ever had, and he was nothing. Number one, this cracker was a nuclear physicist. That means he was no dumb cracker. He understood what was going on, and he knew a great deal of things. And he worked for your degradation and worked to destroy you because you believe in him. That's the problem. You believe in the beast and the beast fiction, as well as the other boy that's in the chair right now. You've already seen your own faith with this cracker, and this cracker here is worse than that. Do you know this cracker is a Rhodes Scholar? Do you know who Cecil Rhodes is? Cecil Rhodes is credited for killing over 80 million Africans. You see? If the Ku Klux Klan was giving out scholarships tomorrow, you'd be right up here. Because ignorance, and it's what the Bible tells you, said, I'm going by your book. It tells you the people will perish from a lack of knowledge. You understand? There's no excuse to be ignorant under cosmic law, which means a universal law. The ignorant will perish. You see. But Jimmy Carter, in 1979, Senator Edmund Muskie issued a Congress act under the behest of President Carter. It was called the immunization program, where they had to inoculate 2 billion people by the year 2000. But guess what? Old Carter's back to put it in action. But what is the immunization? What is the immunization? If the immunization is this, the inoculation is the same doggone inoculation under the same program that I told you about AIDS, smallpox, that created AIDS in Africa, hepatitis B shot that created AIDS here, the Tuskegee experiment that created the syphilis. It's the same program. When are we going to learn? Now, let's just use common sense. If the man created AIDS, created crack, created malt liquor, and he put it out in the black community when he knows that the malt liquor is called a funyun, it gets under the bottom of the beer. It's not the natural beer, because other beer was made in Egypt. But it's not the actual natural beer, it's the actual concentrated funyun, and that stuff caused sterilization in black men. if the man is creating all this stuff to kill you, if he's curing the sickle cell, because you understand the sickle cell makes you immune to AIDS, why in the hell is he going to start immunizing you and going and knocking on your door? He's taking that much effort to knock on your door, a black person. He don't even give you jobs. In last year, out of 75,000 people that was arrested in Atlanta, 55,000 were black males, and that's just in Atlanta alone. That's not including the other states of Georgia. That's not including the other big cities. And all of a sudden, he's concerned with your health. You understand where things are going? For free? You understand? But we gotta give another smoke screen. What's the smoke screen? Can't just go in the griddle and start shooting up black people. What's the smoke screen? The smoke screen is go get the little crazy backwoods crackers in the outskirts of Georgia, give them spinal meningitis by the CDC. Now, wait a minute, first of all, hepatitis B, the smallpox vaccine in Africa, all done by the CDC with the World Health Organization. Now, all of a sudden, these people come down with hepatitis B. And the next thing you know, they close, oh, it's in this county. And the next thing you know, it's in this county. And this week, yesterday, they said it's in Fulton County. You see, in order to get you to run down to the point that you want to get a planet that you got to go get a shot, you got to create the cause to get the effect. So the next thing you know, you're saying, well, this ain't the thing to kill black people because white people got it. Well, let me let you in on a little bit of history here. The brother, I got to take out this gun. The brother named Jack Feller. Yeah, I'm ready to go now. The brother named Jack Feller, he's a black biochemist from South Carolina. See, since we understand that we got to document everybody with a certain title, you understand? If you don't believe black people when they tell you something unless he's validated for the white man. Jack Feller, a black biochemist in Columbia, South Carolina, which went to the school. My mother went to Allen University. I went to the school across the street called Benedict. He went to Allen when it was a major school at one time, bigger than Allen, bigger than Morehouse. I mean, bigger than Clark, bigger than Morehouse. But it marched in the 60s, and the crackers took their strong thumb and took their accreditation, and it ended up forcing them, to the point where they had to bring food from the families, had to cook food in their kitchens and take it to the students all during the summers, try to break them. But they stood on their own, and now they're back up on their feet. Another one of the same as Morris Brown is the AME school. Now, he's a black biochemist from South Carolina. He said, well, what did you do? He said, well, number one, when I was in Vietnam, I worked on germ warfare. He said, so when I got out of Vietnam, he said, I didn't want to work for the government because I saw what they did. He said, well, hey, look, how bad can it be? He said, they gave me $40,000, but they gave me so many thousands of dollars in the early 70s. Remember, the black people didn't start really getting $20,000 on up until the late 70s, up into the early 80s. You see what I'm saying? They didn't get this money first, but in the 70s they were giving him major money. He said, this is a whole lot of money. Ain't black people ain't doing it. I might as well go ahead and work for this job. Like everybody else. Take the money. So when he went there, guess what he was over? He was over vaccination. Now check it out. That's what he did. He was over vaccination. But they put you over the part that they want you to be in. And he noticed by doing this, they would shift this vaccination out to the community. There was a red box for the black community and a green box for the white community. He didn't know what was up. That's not proving that there's a genocidal form. But once again, he played dumb and he switched the red box up and put it in the white community. And the people came and said, where did that box go? He said, I don't know how you. Was it a difference? Played dumb. He said he don't know what was in that box. He said that it took 3 helicopters, 2 trucks, and about 4 or 5 cars to track that thing down. Now that's the same stuff. You see, give your babies, give the white children, the spinal meningitis stuff, the vaccine. Then they tell you, they come into this, say it's important, so they come in and say, look, they're knocking on the door, they started last Saturday. And you got half of volunteers right from the AU Center. You see how it is? But yet we are educated. You see what I'm saying? We just nothing but the white man's niggas in 1992. So they got half of Selma, and half of us to go and knock on the door. Okay, listen. And by the way, you can buy the Global 2000. I have to take my word for it. You can get the Global 2000 report down at First World Bookstore in Cascade. I told them to order as many as they can. And if you don't like that, you can go and get the Gerald Jones book from the shrine of the Black Madonna called the Black Holocaust, and if that don't convince you, you can get a new book on vaccines that our brothers put together telling you how they kill people. Now, yeah, okay, check it out. Now look. So, this stuff is upon us now, and they got you to go and knock on these doors. You see what I'm saying? But remember, by the time you get to Fulton County, they're going to bring out the red box. You understand? And then when you start coming out with all this stuff, you're not going to know what the hell's going on. Let me let you on a little secret. You have what you call in your body melanin. And do you know that melanin is almost impossible for what you have lived for millions of years to catch any disease, but yet you the sickest people on earth? That's why they gave all the welfare people Medicaid cards. Don't you know who can get sick most of the time? Now, be honest. Most of the people stay sick all the time, stay in the damn doctor's office. It's letting you know that the doctors are killing our people. And also, too, the medication, what really makes you sick is most medication that comes from these pharmaceutical companies is made to destroy melanin. So therefore, your immune system is down. Your immune system is down, and all of a sudden, you catch all these diseases. It's almost impossible. The Africans, they dropped the same smallpox they tried to give to the Indians, they dropped it in Africa in the 1800s, and it didn't even bother the Africans. But it killed all the white people. Killed them to death. And they tried to do it, but that's how strong we were as people. You see. Now you know that my brother here, and he died, I'm going to get to the die, but you know my brother here, the substitute at one school over there, and said that one guy came in here and told him the whole AIDS, the whole Atlanta project area you got it. Check. He said, there we all, he said the ambulance rolled up each day. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a party wagon. Look, well, let's track this now. Number one, how did those people in Africa, other than the sickle cell, get immune to AIDS? Well, number one, the Kali Yuga tell you, and I'm going to tell you this because, look, y'all got to know it. It tells you there's going to come a time when the man will eat the sacred cow. And also the chicken. You see, there's a book out called Animals and Digestive System. And how you catch the AIDS is through the meat. I'm a total vegetarian. I work around meat all day. Why? Because he's a black man and I know that y'all ain't going to do a doggone thing. But I tell everybody come in there and get off the meat. You see? There's a book called Animals and Digestive System. Let me break this down. The same sister that was a psychic that told me all this stuff, she bred me to the teacher. She told me the 2 schools I went to. She told me my mother was a school teacher. She told me my grandmother was a school teacher. She told me I got 2 other brothers to finish school. She told me the whole 9 yards. She told my life up to that point. And she said, now let me give you some physical stuff about you that I'm seeing right now as I talk to you. She said, about 2 years ago, you were very tired. I said, yeah. I said, because I used to eat all that beef. You know, I'm in the store, I run back there and get a hamburger or whatever. And keep going. And I go and get the chicken and all. She said, you was very tired. She said, I saw you had headaches all the time. Well, you know, your digestive system, when you've got to digest all that food, you get headaches because the blood has to rush to the other parts of your stomach and your body to digest that food, and your brain is not getting enough blood and you get headaches. So then you take Tylenol and goody powder and all this stuff to get the blood to rush back up to that part, or to rush the heart to pump more blood, so you stop the headache. She said, you was very tired. I said, yes. She said, I started to eat the beef. I said, I got off the beef. She said, what? She said, because I see you now making overwhelmingly progress where you are vibrant now. I said, yeah, I have felt this way since I was 12. She said, do you know, at the same time when you was on the beef, she said that your immune system was about as low as a person that has AIDS. It's just the one that you didn't catch up, because I have a mind, and my mind is always so happy-go-lucky and so spiritual, and to the point was my mind kept me alive. It's in me. Well, my brother works for Aetna Insurance. That's one of the largest insurance companies in America. The white boy comes through. Remember now, he's the man that write out the checks and give you the stuff. So he's up there in the type stuff. He's handling major money. He's not just the man that's going in to sell you the stuff. he's up there, and so he's way up in the company, so he knows he has to go to certain meetings that the white people have, because they got to be up on all the health care to understand how to run the insurance company based on what type of illnesses is out there. So the man came in, a guy came in, a doctor. He said, I do these lectures all the time. And he dropped on a few things, dropped on a few things. But because there was a few black people up in there, what he did was, when he dropped on these few items, he said, by the way, I'm doing a lecture tonight on AIDS. My brother said, I think I need to be there. All the other black people went to hell home. He drove way out someplace in some county to be at his lecture. You see, that's the way they do things. I'm doing this lecture tonight on AIDS. People, I know about AIDS. I know what the government is trying to kill people. See, they still ain't up on what's going on. So he went out there to Cracker. Cracker told him, look. He said that in America, you got millions of chickens. We just doing the chicken now. Said we got millions of chickens. He said you can't produce enough chickens for churches and all these people are serving every day, 365 days. He said what it is the government gives them these steroids. And number one, we don't know what's in these steroids. The government just give it to them. Number two, they already know that most of the chicken places are in the black community. Right? Okay, give them this steroid. Now check it out. This is the white boy thing. So you don't believe black people when they tell you nothing because you're paranoid. But the white man tell you, sometimes the beach break down and tell you what's really going on. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We've been fooled 357,000 times. And the creator ain't got no more time for you. They're going to kill you. So the beast said, they give them this steroids. He said the chicken grows in 1 month or 6 months based on how well they feed those animals in the incubation period. He said they give them the steroids and the chicken catch cancer from the steroids. He said so now that steroid is still in that cancer and it's good protein, so he scraped the cancer off, put it in the straw, grind it up, and put it back in the feed. It's good protein, make them grow even faster. And chickens eat their own droppings. So, good protein because the dropping still got steroids in it. Scrape it all up. For dropping, that means the dookie or whatever, so y'all don't know. Scrape it all up, put it in the feed, and grind it up, and feed it back to the chicken. And then you understand why your babies got breast at 6. You are what you eat. Now, what's the time they age? He said, now listen to this. He said, I got a little boy in my office. 5 years old. Never had sex. Wasn't no intravenous drug user. All of this stuff. How could he catch AIDS? Mama didn't have AIDS. Nobody had AIDS. How could he catch AIDS? Come to find out, they took this boy down and found out that this boy was eating a whole lot of McDonald's, a whole lot of Wendy's, all of this stuff. Right? Put him on a diet, put him on some vitamins, and cured the AIDS. You see, in November, the white man came and told you that we're going to cut out all the vitamin stores. We're going to tax the vitamins, and we're going to get rid of the vitamins. Now the people are catching hell getting vitamins, and vitamins are so doggone high. So Gold Seal last year, which is a cure-all, was about $6. Now Gold Seal is up to $19. Some places, the good stuff. They're putting all these taxes trying to force them out. Because on the Montel Williams show, they showed that there was a woman who had AIDS and a couple of people that had AIDS and bear witness that they cured the AIDS through the vitamins, through the diet and through the vitamins. Put the white boy's newborn vitamins and cure the AIDS. You see. See, the problem is what they don't tell you is the technology that you're getting today is about 40 years old. They bring it out every so often. Do you know that based on those same laws and all that? See, let me give you a bit of history. When we were in Africa, we had an advanced society, more advanced than these people could ever think about. You see, they didn't build a certain amount of things because they understood they didn't need a certain amount of things. See, in Africa, the society, the technology went from spiritual to physical. They didn't build it if they didn't need it, if it didn't pan out spiritually. You see what I'm saying? They understood that TV, radio, and different things burn brain cells. They understood that push button, if you steady pushing buttons, you don't use the analytical part of your brain and your computer, so therefore you become ignorant. Despite all the education you get, which is just a training, it's not a real liberal arts education. Never was. They never can afford to give you the real deal. So they understood that they didn't build certain things, but here everything starts from physical. They just build stuff because it's a capitalistic society and they got to make new stuff. You understand? Now they're selling the computers, the stereo equipment you buy this year, the next year is obsolete because they got to go home to another thing because they got to make money. And God knows they're doing it to the sisters because we understand they drop a hymn one week, they drop a hymn the next week, they raise it up, they raise it down, they got the hip boots this week, so you still constantly buying. Now they got the stack heel boots, the college shoes that they had in the 70s back, and you got to buy. Why? Because in this country, they prey on women. They understand that the European woman is the standard of beauty. They understand that beauty is made to exploit women in this country. You see, they figure if they give a woman a certain archetypal figure on all the TV sets, then you'll feel that you are less than beautiful by not having the certain amount of things that that archetypal figure has on. So they have to keep you. Whereas a man, we understand that the female doesn't have the same amount of criteria that she picks her males by. But the man, if you don't have a certain look based on the male pathological, psychological, sexual, sexist act, that you pick a male based on a physical attraction, a female on a physical attraction. So therefore, the European has to give you certain amount of what you say commerce, a certain amount of capitalism and materialism to keep you going. So if you're not shopping, you don't feel like you're accomplishing anything. You understand? You gotta have the latest things. You see what I mean? And also, we understand that the brother, he's into this too, because he's into all of this. Now look, this suit is a brand new Perrier suit. I took it out my brother's closet the other week. I don't know where he got me some suits before. He got a whole bunch of them. I had lost weight again, so I went over there and got some suits. It's the same suit that was in style, even though he bought it last week, it's the same suit that was in style in 1982, 1983. Around 83, 84, 85, the same suit, 86, same suits. You try if you're a woman wearing the same clothes as you. You understand what I'm saying? That you bought in 86, you like a damn fool. You see, because they make the capitalism for you to buy, because that's how the country runs. Huh? That's why you eat 3 times a day. Now, getting back to this whole genocidal program. President Carter is in town. He's going to inoculate you because he don't love you, is because they're going with the Global 2000 plan schedule. So some of you are saying, well, that's bullshit. Well, number one, white people got AIDS too. You see, you don't understand. You live in a country and you don't ever even study the country. Number one, there's 225 million white people. There's 35 to 40 million black people. Now, if I'm playing percentages, if I take out 25 million white people and take out 40 million black people, I still got 100 million white people. You understand? Look, you understand how the percentages go? That's called war. You got casualties of war. You understand? The white man has been at war with you since 1986 when he first killed the first black man. When he killed several black men, the first one to die was Lenny Byers, died, big-time basketball player, and you found out about this crack thing. You see what I'm saying? You found out about this crack thing. The crack and the AIDS and the drugs all kill the melanin to keep you functioning. Now, why do you say, well, I'm going to get into this and we're going to close out with some question and answer. Why do you say, why would he do this? Everybody's everybody. No, everybody's not everybody. You see, a man with a 3rd grade education came and told you, I'm not a Muslim. I'm not Indonesian. But I happen to know some stuff about the ancient kinetic science. It coincides. I'm going to break it on you right now. What our people wrote about this beast. See, the man came and told you that the white man was the devil. But see, by you growing up in a church, you couldn't fathom that type of doctrine. So you laughed it all off. But also, since he climbed out of the caves, and since he had his first city-state as Greece, he's been killing people. And since from Greece on up, he has killed over 3 billion people. You understand? But yet you mourn for the Jews 2 weeks ago, well, 2 days ago, they said about a Holocaust, and they killed 6 million, really 600,000, because that's a symbolic number. Any Jew scholar will tell you that's a symbolic number. They put another zero up in there to fool you. It's a symbolic number. But you mourn for that. You say that was awful what Hitler did. But I want to know this. They killed 100 million of us in the Middle Passage. Or more. The white Arab slave trade took 30 million Africans off the planet. They don't know where they are today. King Leopold killed 80 million alone in the Congo Free State. And Cicero killed millions upon millions. And that ain't including all the white people that died in sleep. But yet, you will let him go, but you'll cry for the Jews. See what I'm saying? But let me let you on a little bit of secret and let you know who you're dealing with. It's no diabolical in what you think. And the power to be is getting ready to take him out. Oh yeah, we got power. And we get ready to take him out. But if you go down, if you hang with the beast and you believe in the beast, the more you believe in yourself and God, you're going out with the beast. But remember when he told you that the white man was the devil, right? You got problems with that. Let me break this history down to you. In the late 1700s, which is the 18th century, and the early 1800s, which is the 19th century,